Side Scrollers is brought to you by you. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/sidescrollers. It's time for Side Scrollers on youtube.com. With me, Stuttering Craig. You got a goal? Go get it. Adam Krigler.
Hi, buddy.
Blab.
Hi, chat. I love you. Mwah.
And producer extraordinaire, Travis Key.
Hi, guys.
And brought to you by you, the G2 community, at patreon.com/sidescrollers. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the #1 gaming and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on youtube.com and rumble.com and twitch.tv. And today, well, I guess actually very soon, on Kick. Brand new outlets. And also we're on Twitter. We're everywhere today, broadcasting live to you guys, especially on the Geeks and Gamers channel. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you guys. Welcome to the #1 video game and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's Side Scrollers. Joining us as always, Commander in Chair. It's Travis Keys. Hello, Travis.
I'm ready this morning. Hey.
He's on it. Ready to go. Also, Blabs. Hello, Blabs.
Hi. Happy Wednesday. Hi.
You always got your jazz hands going. Hey.
Sunshine.
Love that. Also, the greatest gamer in this room or any room. It's Adam Krigler.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I never said that. But I'll take it. Thank you. Very, very high praise. But I don't think I'm the best gamer in any room. But I'm rather good. I am good. I'm good. I'm not that good. But hey. Anyway, how you guys doing? Good to see you.
It's going to be a great show today. Very excited for today. We're doing we got an interview today. We're going to be interviewing Boogie today with his upcoming fight with Wings of Redemption. We're going to bring in Boogie in just a little bit. I want to remind you guys before we bring in Boogie that if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Right now we are live over on the Geeks and Gamers channel, but we stream Monday through Friday over on the Side Scrollers channel, Side Scrollers podcast channel over on YouTube. And so make sure you guys go over there and subscribe to that channel if you guys like this stuff. A lot of folks like our interviews. We did an interview recently with the CEO of Tetris, Maya, which is great. I think it was Maya. Was her name not Maya Moore? What was her name? Maya. It was Maya. Maya. She was very nice.
Just Maya.
She was great.
Tetris, I believe her last name was.
Maya Tetris.
Tetris.
Rogers.
And obviously we had the interview with Dark Side Phil, which was just about 6 weeks ago now, which seems like an eternity.
I almost forgot that I did that, and then you just had to bring that up.
Bringing it back. Maya Rogers. Thank you, Bloody. Yes, Maya Rogers. I was thinking Maya Moore. Maya Moore is a WNBA player.
Am I not talking?
Oh, he's gone. I love how anytime he leans forward. Oh, wait, I'm muted.
No, you're good.
I'm just special today, but I love every time Travis leans forward, it's just gone.
We're on fire today.
I have magic. I'm like Harry Potter.
Sorry, Trav, I didn't hear you. Sometimes when I'm speaking, I don't hear anybody else talk.
It's cool.
But hey, we got a big show today. We have Boogie coming on the show. I think we should probably just get into this thing. Do you guys have anything before we get into talking to Boogie?
What? No.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's do it.
Let's bring in our guest today. It's Boogie2988. Hello, Boogie. Good to see you.
Hey, man. What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a fun day. Thanks for joining us today. We're stoked. You got a big fight coming up against Wings of Redemption. How about we just kind of start there and I mean,
I wouldn't call it like a big fight, but it is.
Well, isn't it a big fight for you though?
I mean, I've been in pretty much zero fights. In high school, I let somebody just hit me till he got bored, which is a fun story if you want to hear it. And then, I mean, my high school and my elementary school home was pretty much a boxing ring. So my mom used to ricochet me around the room like a pinball, so.
So
I feel like I'm kind of built for this, but yeah, this is my first time hitting anybody else. That's new
for points
or for fun or for any reason. I mean,
I actually think that's a good thing, but
yeah,
in my opinion,
what is
not ever having to hit anybody in your life, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say getting hit is a good thing either.
Yeah, I think this might be my biggest strength going into this is aside from like any trauma, like cropping up in the ring or something like that. I feel like I spent the first 18 years of my life prepared for going 3 rounds. If I can go 3 rounds with a 300-pound woman when I'm 9 years old, I can probably go 3 rounds with Wings. So I feel like, I mean, I got hit in the head with a hammer and shit as a kid. If I can handle that, I'm pretty sure I can handle 16-ounce gloves with Wings protection in them. You know, should be okay.
Okay, so there's already a lot here. there's already a lot to talk about here, man. There's so much. I'll tell you, before we got started, right before we started the show, you said don't DSP me, man. Don't. What does that mean? First and foremost,
I watched part of that Dark Side Phil thing, right? And like every interviewer has some level of control. And so what I was basically saying is if I completely steer myself into a giant hole like Phil did, don't hand me a shovel, baby. Okay. Like help me out a little bit. Cause I have a lot in common with Phil in one regard is that Phil lacks all self-awareness. I lack most self-awareness. You know, like if I start fucking up here, it's gonna be an entertaining show for sure.
To be fair, Boogie, both Craig and I really tried to give him a hand out of that hole multiple times.
He just kept digging, man, digging.
I mean, you got to recognize that though. We weren't. It wasn't an attack, and I hear that he's going out and saying like we bombarded him, we like stabbed him in the back, and it's like. We wouldn't have even brought Keem on if he wasn't okay with it. Like I asked multiple times. I asked after Keem came on, I was like, is this cool? Like, are you cool with this? Like, this doesn't have to be like this. Like, we're just rolling with it. And it just like this magic is happening right now. So
I mean, ultimately what I will say is, 100% Phil hung himself on the show. He hangs himself every day, man. He's one of the most miserable human beings I've ever met. And as someone who sought comfort throughout the majority of his life, and eventually made his comfort his tomb, made my comfort my own prison. I see Phil doing that every day. I saw a clip of him that somebody tagged me in on Twitter the other day where he was like complaining about playing a video game. And his like audience was like upset for some reason. I don't really understand it, but he's like, oh, I started the DLC and then people complained about that. So then I started New Game Plus and then people complained about that. But if I change the game, people are going to complain about that. So I'm just miserable. Then stop doing what you're doing if you're miserable, man. You should be doing shit you like, Phil. And who gives a shit what somebody in chat says? You're playing video games for a living. You're one of the most privileged people on the planet. Play a game you like. Play a game you like, man. Like it's so confusing to me. And I'm obviously somebody who's destroyed his own body, his own mind, his own life. And I look at Phil and I see those shreds of me in it. And I'm like, oh, it just makes me hate the guy in that regard.
I think when your only goal when you're streaming is to make money, then it's hard to play something you like because you want to maximize your profits and that's your only worry. So you're mad because you're not doing that. You know,
I've always said if you do social media to make money, then you will never be successful and you certainly will not be happy. You got to do social media because it's in your blood. You got to do social media because it's part of you. You got to do social media because the act of doing it is rewarding to you. So if you don't enjoy interviewing people, don't make a podcast. If you don't enjoy playing video games while people watch you, don't play video games. You do what, I don't know. Basically, I got diagnosed as autistic finally after knowing for about a year that I was certainly on the autism spectrum. And I realized that I think a lot of content creators have a form of autism and are able to utilize that to, I don't know, really hyper focus on the job and the creation. And I don't know, it seems like Phil, if he's autistic, I can't diagnose anybody, but if he was, he's using his hyper focus to just make himself miserable every day, which is bizarre to me.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any relationship with Phil at all?
Not really. We're trying to put together a show, that Lolcow podcast that Keemstar pitched, and then Phil's like, oh no, I don't want to work with Keemstar. I don't want a $50,000 paycheck. I don't want to pay off all my debts and taxes. I'd rather be miserable. I'd rather sit in a corner and cry all over myself. You know, I'd rather bitch for a living. which also cost me a 50K payday, which also cost Wings a 50K payday. And I could use 50K, and I know Wings could use it. So he screwed everybody over. So I think he's trying to make it up for this with us trying to work with another third party that's not Keemstar. But I don't know if he'll follow through. I don't feel like Phil wants his problem solved. I think Phil wants to marinate in the misery of his own creation.
So I
don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I think deep down he's scared of what it takes to actually get to that point of being happy. It's a lot of self-reflection, which you even admit he's not very good at. You know, in his world, he's doing everything right, and when obviously that's wrong, and it's his delusions of grandeur, even though he thinks I pronounced it wrong. I did not. I think it's hilarious. I guess it's his illusions of grandeur, which is how he pronounced it, which is I find very humorous. But anyway, moving on from DSP though, I don't want to like just sit here and talk about DSP. Honestly,
agreed.
I had PTSD from that DSP interview for it was 5 hours of my life I won't get back.
Yeah, hopefully it will not traumatize you today. At least if I can avoid that, I'll be happy.
Hopefully PTSD, DSP PTSD is not a chronic condition.
DSP PTSD. That's so good.
Yeah.
So let's actually talk about what you have coming up, which is this fight against Wings of Redemption.
Yeah.
And so Keem's put this together. It's, you know, his thing is 800 pounds, one ring, right? And you got Wings of Redemption and you got Boogie, and it's kind of touted as this idea that two guys who were once on the mountaintop and they've fallen down, and now this is their climb back to redemption. Is that accurate?
I think that's how we build it for sure. To me, this is just another step and block of me trying to get my life together, get my body together, get my mind together. I mean, obviously it'd be a huge step back if I got hurt really badly in the ring. So that's the risk I'm taking. But at the end of the day, this is me proving to myself that I'm capable of more than what I've given myself credit for. I would like that, think that maybe it'll show other people out there that I'm capable of more than they think I am. And hopefully in reflecting on that, they can reflect on if a 48-year-old man can run the risk of getting in the ring and hopefully have some positive result from this, either the weight loss that I've gotten or the training that I've gotten or the paycheck that I get, or maybe God forbid I win this thing. If I can go through all of these changes and I can make all these high calculated risks, you can do it too. And maybe you can get yourself out of the situation you find yourself in. I mean, I have no delusions that this is going to put me back on the map on YouTube. I have no delusions that this is going to reboot my career. I have no delusions that this is anything other than, you know, a flash in the pan. But my original viral videos were a flash in the pan, and I turned that into a 17-year career. So maybe I can work with this. Maybe it will be beneficial in the long run. Even if it's not, though, I love that I've always been afraid to get into a real fight. I've always been afraid to do this kind of thing. And Lord knows I hate exercise. I hate eating right. I hate getting into shape. And this is making me do that. And I'm just grateful for that opportunity.
How much weight has you lost?
Like?
My exercise is still miserable. It's about, I hit my bag for about 5 to 6 minutes now, 4 to 5 times a day. I just made that a pretty big habit. Just put on some music that I call my mantra, and I work out through 1 or 2 of the songs. Walking my dogs a lot. Been doing some weightlifting, really trying to work on upper body strength because I think that's the most important going into this. And walking my dogs a lot has been trying to build up endurance. I know from watching Wings' videos and having talked to Keemstar that his cardio is real bad. And I know going into this that I've not had the best cardio, but the last 6 weeks, that's the major thing I'm working on, is getting my heart rate up as quick as possible, get the adrenaline pumping as quick as possible, really beating the hell out of my bag and making sure I can do it for 2-minute rounds with a minute break in between them. But if I can do it for 5 straight minutes, 6 straight minutes, I should be okay for the fight. I don't know. I've never been in the fight, but I feel like that's the best training I can do.
Well, it's one thing to punch a bag leading up to it. It's another thing to be punched leading up to a fight and actually feel the impact and then have to fight through the impact that you've just had.
Exactly.
Have you been hit at all leading up to this?
I had a few friends hit me. We did a lot of body work and realized that you can hit me in the stomach and chest all you want. I just don't feel it. You got to hit my face. And I was really hesitant to let somebody like just clock me as hard as they could. And the first time I did it was not with the 16-ounce gloves. It was with the 12-ounce gloves that I have. And that I was like, wow, is this what I'm in store for? This sucks. Then over this last weekend, it was Retropalooza. I had a couple of ex-boxers and just a random kid just hit me in the face for fun. We sparred a little bit. And 16-ounce gloves is a big difference. It's a really big difference. Really spreads it out. I don't know necessarily that it's easier to get hit with a 16-ounce glove, but it is different for sure. But again, I haven't been hit by my opponent yet, so it could be a completely different experience. But having got hit in the arms, having got hit in the face, having gotten hit in the stomach, the shoulders, the chest, it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But again, Wings has got some determination behind him that these guys are just sparring with me, right? I'm saying, hit me as hard as you can. Hit me as hard as you can. Wings doesn't want to just hit me as hard as I can for practice. He wants to end me. He wants to put me down. So it should be a different experience altogether still.
So I'm not going to lie. I have tremendous concern for you, right? Mainly because as I've watched these videos of you guys, and I want to pull one up really quick. This is you hitting your bag. The one thing that I notice about you, and keep in mind, I'm not an ex-boxer, but I have watched the sport for a long time, is every time you're punching, your hands are down, right? They're not protecting your chin, which, as you're going in and you're wheeling up, that's a big concern, man. And like, if you have your hands down the entire time and you leaving your body open like this, you are leaving yourself open for a broken jaw.
Yep.
And that scares me, man, for you.
I've had some lessons since then, and it's way different from fighting a person when you're just punching the bag to show off for the camera. But you are 100% correct, and that's something we've really shorn up. I don't want to tell Jordy my entire strategy, but it's kind of obvious, and I talked to him a little bit about it last night. My goal is to turtle up as best I can and let him wind himself, which I think he's going to do in the first 30 seconds. And then, originally I was just going to go ham. But I had a boxer tell me that's the wrong thing to do. He said, I still need to be defensive because you can walk into a punch and get your ass knocked out. So he's like, I want you to jab until you know he's exhausted, until you know he's absolutely exhausted. We're going to protect our chin. We're going to keep our chin down. We're going to make sure he's popping us in the top of the head, popping us in the eye. If he breaks your nose, he breaks your nose. That's way better than getting hit in the chin. And stay as defensive as humanly possible. And let him wear himself out. And when he does, this is his words. This is my boxer friend, Greg. He said, you'll hit him once and he'll realize he doesn't want to get hit anymore. And he's going to choose to go down. And when he chooses to go down, he's going to choose not to get back up. And I'm not like a conscious choice.
So here's the thing that I see, though, is when you look at him, he may not have a whole lot of wind attached to him. Yeah, but he has snap in his punches. Yep, he snaps, man. His jab's there, and he actually has a little bit of head movement in there, and his hands are up. So, like I said, man, I wish I could tell you that I'm not concerned for you heading into this thing.
I'm concerned for me. Like, I'm glad that you are. I think anybody watching this should be concerned for me. I'm a 48-year-old man. I'm certainly not the peak of health. This guy is 6 inches taller than me at the very least. I'm not sure exactly.
I was just going to ask, what's your reach like compared to his?
He's got about 4 inches of reach on me. So he's younger, he's faster, he's more mobile. Certainly, if he's been doing the work, he should be stronger. I don't think he's been doing the work, but I think he's been working to some degree. But going into this, he's easily the favorite, and I'm absolutely going into this knowing that he has all the advantages in the world. My goal ultimately is to survive it. My goal is ultimately to get through 3 rounds. If I could Rocky won this and just end this thing standing, I will be very proud of myself. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm proud of myself for going. I'm proud of myself for getting in the ring. This is crazy. This is dangerous. This is silly. I have no delusions that this is. I've talked to my doctor, and it took so much to get my doctor to sign off on this. We had to change our medication schedules. We had to change training. We had to change. I had to get back on testosterone. I had to get back on tramadol again. He had to get me working out. He needed to see the progress. And when I talked to my doctor about it, I'm like, can I do this? And it's like, Steve, you can do it, but you're asking the wrong question. And I'm like, well, what's the right question? He says, should you do it? And the answer is no, absolutely. You should not do this.
That actually, there's a lot of people that have said, like, these people are, meaning you two, the boxers, you know, you guys are obviously overweight, and this is not a good idea. Like, your doctor is even saying, like, no. And I've seen a lot of people out there that are mad that Keem's doing it, like doing this. I know DSP like alluded to it, and I was like, yeah, well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about you.
There's two different ways to look at it, in my opinion, and I'm choosing to look at it in the most favorable way. You can look at it in the least favorable way, which is, oh, Keemstar's putting two clowns in the ring, and they're not professional boxers yet, and they're not their healthiest, and somebody could get hurt, and all of that shit, right? Or you can look at it in the way that I'm looking at it, which is Keemstar has created an opportunity for two over-the-hill, morbidly obese men to get their shit together and put themselves in a dangerous situation. Keemstar's not making Jordy do shit. Keemstar's not making me do shit. He's giving me an opportunity. And
well, the point I was making, though, is exactly that. It's like, you two are grown adults choosing to do this, and you fully recognize the dangers, and it's actually been fairly beneficial for you. It seems like you're actually working out. How much weight have you lost since you started?
Nobody likes this answer, but I put on, getting back on testosterone, I put on 18 pounds in the first 30 days of being back on testosterone, because I could finally build muscle again.
Yeah,
well, muscle weighs more than fat, doesn't it? So
and you're up moving, so you're building it up.
So I'm currently cutting now as best I can, doing low carb and eating as few calories as I comfortably can a day, which is about 1,600, and it's all protein, avoiding all sugars and all carbohydrates, doing the basic keto thing. I think most fighters do this prior to a fight, but I know it was going to work for me. Weighed in at 403 yesterday. Haven't weighed myself today, but I have been losing close to about a pound a day. So I'd like to think I'll weigh close to 395, maybe 390 for this fight. But I can tell you the scale victories is one very small part of weight loss to me. And when I got my bypass surgery, we did a lot of education prior to it. And my doctor hated people who relied on the scale. He didn't want you to look at the scale. He's like, don't weigh yourself every day. This is unimportant. What I want you doing every day is I want you exercising more and taking note of the quality of life differences. Can you walk farther? Can you run? Can you exercise more? Can you stand longer? Are you having less pain issues? Are you having a better quality of life? And the answer is, in the last 6 weeks, I have improved the quality of my life so tremendously. Keemstar was at my house last Wednesday. We spent the day filming and working out. I then traveled over the weekend with my friend Michael. We went down to Houston. We went to bars and arcades, and we were on our feet all day. I couldn't have done that when I was in a wheelchair 6 years ago. My wife used to have to help me get out of a chair and move to my wheelchair. That's how broken I used to be. I couldn't have done that 6 weeks ago. I couldn't have gone to my arcade 6 weeks ago and walked around it as much as I did. Much less have spent an entire 6-7 days traveling Houston with my friend and filming every day and working with a Keemstar. So I don't really care what the scale says anymore. I know that's very important to a lot of people that follow me. I care about the fact that I feel good, I'm out of pain, and I'm doing shit I love. That's what's important to me.
Let me pull up this documentary. And by the way, I think that's all like really admirable, right? But I feel like I was watching this documentary that Keem put out on the Drama Alert channel, and I wanted to kind of key in on something. There's a point in it about 2/3 of the way through where they have you, and you're kind of talking about your reason for this fight, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let me kind of pull this up really fast, and we'll kind of go from here.
because this is two 400-pound men who have effectively, I'm sorry, Jordy, but we've effectively ruined our own lives. We've ruined our own bodies, right? We've ruined our own careers. And this is us fighting for our lives, fighting for our careers, fighting for our respect, fighting for ourselves. I mean, there's a bag involved, and that's great, but that's not why either of us is doing this. I hope not.
Okay, so right there, you're saying, like, look, we're going to do this for ourselves. We're doing this for our fight. We're doing this for relevancy, but we're not doing this for money, right? And that, well, you say there's money involved, but that's not why either of us are doing it. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, let's talk about it, because Jordy accidentally leaked our purse. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the money.
Well, let me just kind of continue on to this, because
go ahead.
Because later on, like, not just you know, by the way, your dog's really cute.
Isn't he beautiful? He's sleeping right here next to me. Yeah,
adorable little pup. Mm-hmm. They kind of put the contract in front of you, and
to die
you respond this way:
the ring, or die in one of these fucking chairs sitting around this house playing video games. What's the better way to go? If I have to die, it'll be a part of YouTube legacy to die in that ring.
Moment of truth. Boogie's got the contract.
All legal shit. I don't even know what you need to say.
The dog's excited.
I get paid if I sign this. That's what I get. That's what I get paid.
It's happening! May 13th, London.
Pay me.
Boogie2988 versus Wings of Redemption. It's out.
All right, so you got to see the.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
I mean,
right.
The interview the first part of the interview is obviously me the entire thing is obviously me trying to be an entertainer, right? Right. But there's 99% truth in the first clip you played. The second clip you played, that was literally just a bit. I'm always surprised, because when I watch clips like that, I'm like, oh, I'm clearly acting there. When people can't tell that I'm acting, it's such a shock to me, because I'm such a shitty actor. So
I saw your Meta PCs ad on your channel, and I agree.
Yeah. I'm not a good actor, man. And so anytime anybody ever falls for that shit, I'm just like, so Craig, please tell me you understood I was acting there. Please tell me.
I just want to make sure, because look, that's the thing. It's the internet, man. You know, and like they're been doing this for a long time, just like you. And there are things that you'll say that you'll do that you feel are meant to be portrayed a certain way, and someone out there will be like, "What the hell are you talking about? You said this or you did this," and you're like, "It was clearly a bit, right?"
Right? Yeah.
Boogie, would you do this fight if there was no money involved?
There basically is none.
No, that's not an answer though.
Yes, I am doing this fight even though there is no money. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Wait, but
there's a $10,000 purse. I'll pay $2.8K in taxes on it. Okay, I spent about $2,000 in gear and medicals and everything else, and I haven't even paid for my MRI yet. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm doing this for an opportunity to do this. I might clear by the time all this is said and done. I haven't even calculated any travel expenses. It's money I have to spend getting to London, money I have to spend once I'm in London, and money I have to spend getting back.
Keem's not flying you to London?
I mean, he is, but there's always incidentals, man.
Yeah, true.
There's always meals.
He's not getting you a hotel?
He's getting me a hotel, but again,
he's not giving you a per diem?
Incidentals. I don't think there's a per diem, no.
Keem, come on.
So but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this money bleeds when you're doing something like this. Jordy complained about it on the live stream last night, and I'm at the end of the day, I'll be lucky to put $2,000 in my pocket, which will pay 1 month's mortgage. That's not going to fix my situation.
What is your situation?
My situation is I have a $2K month mortgage, and I got to pay it every month forever. I mean, pretty much till it's paid off, which is a good ways away. I have an $800 a month insurance bill that I have to pay every month for health insurance, and I need health insurance. My medications, because of all these changes that we've made, going back on testosterone, the packets are $150 a month. That's after insurance, right? On top of all the other medications I'm on.
Your tramadol is like $100 without insurance.
Oh, I think tramadol is pretty cheap now. Actually, I think it's one of my cheapest ones. Yeah, now I'm back on it. But the testosterone packets he's got me on, because I can't do the injections anymore because that gave me polycythemia. So now we're doing the packet gels. We're dealing with that's $150 a month after insurance. So I mean, the changes I've made, ultimately I'll lose money once this is done. That's a dumb reason to do it.
But you'll gain health though.
Right. I'm gaining hopefully 3 things. And I'll try to list them in the order of importance to me. The least important is hopefully a little bit of clout and a little bit of respect from my community and the people that love me. He did this. He was brave enough to do it. And I think it's crazy that he did it. And I'm proud of him for doing it. That would be great. The second is hopefully that'll translate to some level of more income. Maybe people will be more interested in the podcast that I'm putting together. I'm up episode 3, just did Keemstar, Power of the Internet. You can look that up. Maybe people will be interested in my content again. That would be great. Maybe it'll translate to more views, which adds up to more money via ad revenue. But the third reason is I need to earn some self-respect here, man. I really let myself go. I mean, I did a bunch of psychedelics recently and went through psychedelic therapy combined with traditional therapy. And it really changed the way I think and the way I feel about everything. But I think the biggest change is in the second session, I really had to face the fact that I was given this body, that I was given this mind, I was given this opportunity, and I squandered it and I wasted it and I ruined it, but it's not too late. And in that second session, I was my therapist was leaving, my psychedelic therapist was leaving. He's like, what do we learn from the session? And I'm like, that I want to help. I need to help people, man. Because it was the heart chakra thing. He's like, I need to help people. I should be helping people. And it's like, Steve, you're people. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, help yourself. You're in a very unique position to where if you help yourself right now, you're going to help a lot of other people because they're going to see you helping yourself and they know they can do it too. So that's my biggest goal here. And I know, Craig, like a lot of people, what if you die in the ring? Like I said in the interview, you got to die of something. May as well die fighting for your life. Might as well.
Your motto is literally YOLO right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest part of it. I don't know how much into the psychedelic stuff you guys want me to get into, and I can get real hippy dippy these days, but having done the heroic dose of magic mushrooms and having visited the ether and having effectively died, I'm not worried about dying anymore. Sounds kind of neat, honestly. I don't want to leave. I like it here. I like being the Steven guy. I like being this character. I like experiencing this life. I want to experience it to its end, and I want to do the work that I'm supposed to do while I'm here, but I'm no longer afraid to die. It's kind of great, if I'm being honest with you.
I think it's all like really interesting, but I actually want to take a few steps back. Like
sure.
Way back.
Yeah.
You said something at the start that I think kind of plays into your mental state now. And I would just love to hear your thoughts on this. You said you were beaten up a lot as a kid, right? Yeah. Your mom beat the crap out of you, and do you feel that what do you think that did to you from a mental perspective to kind of put you in the? Do you think that had an impact on you as far as you feel your self-worth? You said you needed to have this fight for self-worth. Do you feel like? Have you been fighting against your mom your entire life?
I mean, I wouldn't put it that way, but I think I've been fighting against myself more than anything. But here's what I think it really did. A lot of people will say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that's not the truth. What didn't kill me made me scared. It turned me into a people pleaser. It turned me into a pussy. That's what Keemstar calls me in the documentary. And it's not wrong to call me that. I don't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable because I was afraid of what they might do to me. And I learned a really awful lesson in the first 18 years of my life, which is I have to placate my abuser. And I also probably need to placate everyone because everyone could be an abuser. So I have to be careful. I let every woman I ever dated walk all over me. I let every friend I ever had use me. Unfortunately, not everyone did. Not every woman, not every friend, but if they wanted to, they could have. I was a carpet. I was afraid to do any risk-taking shit. And every time somebody was mad at me on the internet, I tried to fix it. I tried to change their mind because I couldn't handle the idea that someone could turn into another abuser. And everything felt like abuse to me all the time. Somebody was mad at me on the internet, and that felt like a form of abuse. I had to fix it. I had to change it. One of my biggest fears was that I would upset somebody enough to where they'd show up on my front door, and that shit happened, right? Like my worst fear came true. And psychedelics taught me to stop being afraid. And this is me proving to myself that I'm not afraid. This is me proving to myself that Wings, as far as I can tell, hates me right now. And after the shit I said to him on that Twitter space last night, I don't blame him, because I dogged him up and down, and I would never have done that in a million years. So to step into the ring with somebody whose literal only goal is to hurt me bad enough to where I don't want any more of it is very freeing to me. And it's literally like walking back into the trauma that I experienced for the first 18 years of my life. And I have no clue what my reaction to that will be. Am I going to huddle in a corner and cry? That's a possibility. Am I going to get angry and decide that I'm going to go Norman Bates on his ass and he's my mom and I'm going to murder his? I don't know. Somewhere in between, probably. But it's something I definitely want to go through, and it's something I definitely want to experience. And it's definitely something that pre-psychedelic Boogie would have been terrified to do.
What psychedelics are you referring to?
I did. So again, I combined this with traditional therapy as well. My traditional therapist was not happy about it, but he helped me through it. And then I worked with the Native American shaman who works for the Native American church here. I mean, he's not Native American, but he works for the Native American church. We did 5 grams of penis envy mushrooms the first time. And then the second time we did a tremendous amount of MDMA. And the mushroom experience, I think, was certainly the most pivotal one, though the MDMA really helped me reduce all my inhibitions and like finally just kind of admit to myself, not to anybody else, but to myself, what a piece of shit I've been. How stupid it was for me to ruin my own body, my own mind. But those are the 2 experiences I've had so far. And there's more. He does want me to go through ayahuasca. He wants me to go through a couple of others, and then ultimately culminating in DMT. But honestly, I like the character I am now with the knowledge that I have. I don't need more. I don't want more. I like where I am.
For our non-drug users, okay, 5 grams of mushrooms is a lot of mushrooms. A dose is a 1/2. Okay, at 5 grams is 2/8 of mushrooms.
What were the name of those mushrooms again?
Penis envy.
Yeah, I thought I misheard you for the first time.
No, they're called penis envy. Yeah, there's a documentary. There's a documentarian by the name of Mike Klum. I think I saw on Twitter that he's working on another documentary with Trish Paytas. If you guys know who Trish Paytas is. And I don't know if he's doing that or not. I can't confirm or deny. I just saw that on Twitter. But he was at my house for 7 days and we filmed together, and he kind of wanted to show me in my element. This is all his idea. And he's like, what's some stuff you would like to do in this thing? And I'm like, well, there's this documentary, or this is a Native American shaman who's been wanting to help me for a while. You want to go trip balls in the woods with me? And he's like, sure. And I hate that I did it for the wrong reasons. Like, I'm like, this is interesting for the documentary, and this is interesting for the audience. Maybe people will like it. I didn't realize I was about to completely change my life. But I will say, to his credit, to Ryan's credit, as he's handing me the mushrooms, and you'll see this on the documentary if it ever comes out. He's like, all right, man, are you sure you're ready for this? Because things are about to change. And I was like, bleep, blop, bloop, give me the candy. I don't know. What do you mean by that? And then like 3 months later, I'm fighting a dude in London. Like, shit blew completely up. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So you've talked about, I think that's interesting stuff. I actually want to hear more about like this DMT trip that you went on. And because as somebody who's never.
Yeah, so I smoked DMT back in 2019.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
not
it was
for therapy, though.
It was some low. No, that's what I went into it with the intention of therapy. And it was some pretty low grade shit compared to smoking that DMT to the man who gave it to me. God bless you. But also, that was some low grade shit. I experienced very little. I got a taste of what it was going to be like when I finally, took the heroic dose. But the first experience was fairly freeing. I got some ideas and visions. In fact, I'll tell you the full trip if you really want to hear it.
I'm intrigued by this. Yes.
So the full trip, I smoked so much trying to get there. And then I got there and I was able to kind of leave my body a little bit, but not fully. I was definitely I was in 2 places at once. And the first thing I saw was like the fractals and the color wall, which I got way more experienced with from shrooms. And then I saw like this big mushy color wall, which I don't know how to describe it any other way. I touched it and I tried to get through like the veil, and I'm like, I need to get in here. I want to get in here. I'm thinking that. And then a voice tells me, hey, you're not ready for this, man. And I'm like, what? Yeah, you're not ready to see what's on the other side of this. And I'm like, well, you got to show me something, man. Show me anything. And so I was in a car that was self-driving, driving from Arkansas to Virginia, which is a trip I made 1,000,000 times before my mom passed. And everybody was in the other lane coming forward. I was the only person going in that lane heading back home. And everything felt peaceful and safe and kind. And I'm like, I don't have no clue what you're showing me. And the voice said, everything's just going to be okay. Everything's okay. Do you understand that? Can you see that you're on the right path? Can you understand you're going to the... Well, it's so interesting because later that year, I drove back to Virginia for the first time in 10 years, and I wrecked my car at almost, I swear, the exact point in Tennessee that I envisioned during that DMT trip. Nearly hurt 3 kids in the back of a vehicle, all because I was fiddling with my radio, all because I wasn't paying that close of attention and was unable to stop in time. And I couldn't help but think that was coincidence. Doesn't feel like it could have been coincidence in retrospect, but of course it probably was some sort of confluence. But that was nothing compared to actual shrooms. It was just night and day. The shroom experience, at first, I felt like the DMT thing. I felt like, if you ever done edibles, I felt like the time dilation and the fuzzy fingers and the goofiness. And then it took the next step. And the shaman is like, hey, man, can you see the fractals yet? I'm like, oh, I definitely see the fractals. He's like, close your eyes and you'll still see the world. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. So I closed my eyes, and sure enough, I could see nothing but the fractals. There was no overlay. I could just see the fractals that made up the world. And the weirdest thing about it was I could see him and I could see his dog, but I couldn't see my friend Mitch, who was the cameraman, or my friend Mike, who was the director. They disappeared. When I closed my eyes, I opened my eyes again, they're standing there. I closed them again, they're gone. And I'm like, why can't I see them? It's like, because they're not here, man. I'm like, he's like, I'm rolling with you right now. I'm here with you. I'm like, why can't I see your dog? He's like, they're always here. And then he pressed play on a radio, and I left my body, and I experienced the ether. And I've tried to describe it many times on live stream, but I don't think I ever really am able to describe it. But I got what it's like to be dead. And I learned that, hey, Craig, you and I are the same people. Did you know we're all the same people? We're all the same. And also, we will experience each other's lives at some point. So when I help somebody else, I'm helping myself. When I hurt somebody else, I'm hurting myself. And we're also the ground we walk on, and the air we breathe, and the animals we eat, and the plants we eat, and the sky above us. We're all of that.
I'm going to get into this a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you were talking about going back home, I actually think you might have got more out of that first one, because to me, that's saying you felt calm when you were thinking about going back home. That tells me you were okay about facing your past.
Yeah, it gave me comfort, and it gave me the comfort I needed at that time, because I was walking around suicidal, man. I Hank Green is in my town today, the owner of VidCon, and him and I used to hang out at every VidCon. That dude won't answer my DMs anymore, because I walked around his VidCon in 2019 telling everyone that when I got home, I was going to kill myself. Because when I got home, I was going to kill myself. That's how miserable I was back in 2019. And I got the comfort that I needed to face everything that I was going to go through, whether it was the COVID or the end of my career, or this idiot showing up at my front door and all the legal problems, and having to spend all my money on that shit, and spending the money on just trying to survive, and all of these different changes and all these different experiences, and getting into therapy. I got into heavy therapy in 2020. I was seeing both a BetterHelp therapist as well as a local therapist as well, because BetterHelp tells you should see a traditional therapist as well as the BetterHelp therapist. But I actually got way better therapy through BetterHelp than the local guy. But I think it gave me the comfort I needed to make those changes and survive all the stupid shit I had done from 2017 to 2020. Yeah.
So you talk about these like pivotal moments in your life, that like obviously this it's a pretty big one coming up that was stirred by this by this therapy that you've done a few months ago, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you've had this realization that, you said you talk about, waste, you in your words, wasted your body, wasted your mind and things. So what is that? Where are you in 6 months? Where are you in a year? Do you have a plan laid out for what your life looks like in 6 months, 12 months to not, quote unquote, waste your body and waste these things that you mentioned?
So all of the therapy that I've gone through, all of the Buddhist philosophers I've studied, whether it's or even just like Alan Watts, or even go back to Nietzsche, they'll all tell you making plans is silly. Worrying about tomorrow is a very silly thing to do because there is no tomorrow, and there's also no yesterday. There's only now, and so that's how I'm approaching my life every day. I wake up now, and I experience now, and I meditate to get to now. And then I think about now. What am I doing now? Today I'm doing this podcast with Craig, and afterwards I'm going for a walk, and then I'm going to play with my dogs, and then I'm going to talk with my friends, and then I'm going to work on my podcast, and I'm going to go to bed having felt stronger and better and healthier, and then I'll do it all again tomorrow when I wake up in that now. I hope that if I continue to do that, I hope that in 6 months more people are enjoying my content and enjoying the person that I am. I'm hoping that I'll be healthier than I currently am. I hope that my now, 6 months from now, will be better. Or 6 months from now, I could be dead. Or 6 months from now, there could be another COVID. Or 6 months from now, Putin drops the nukes. I'm not worrying about it anymore. I'm worried about having a really great now.
It sounds a lot like recovery from drugs. For anybody who's been through that, I have. But they teach you to live in the moment and to face what you're doing right now rather than thinking about the past, worrying about your future. Because if you can't get past not using now, then you're going to be a user.
It's so interesting. I'm so glad you shared that. But it's so interesting because, like, when I did the mushrooms, nobody told me what I was going to experience. Nobody told me what I would expect. But here's what I experienced, and I got the same other enlightenment that everyone else gets, whether they get it from meditation, they get it from a drug, or they get it just by waking up one day and realizing what this is all about. And it sounds like having an alcoholic dad, having gone through Al-Anon, having gone through, I forget the support structure for that, for the families of alcoholics, and having you mention it now, we always teach each other the same thing. There's some fundamental truths, and I think that is definitely one of them. So of course it helps you recover because you are learning a fundamental truth that time is an illusion. It's made up. It's a fractal of the human brain, and the past does not exist and the future does not exist. There's only now. And if we were able to step out to a cosmic scale, there is no such thing as time. The universe doesn't experience time. We experience time.
Yeah, but Boogie, you say like the past doesn't exist or doesn't exist, right? But you yourself say, you're one of the reasons why you're fighting is for relevance, right? Relevance. You want to be relevant in this space, right? And
I hope so, yeah.
A lot of your relevance is tied to your past creation, right? That's why you have 4 million subscribers, right? That 4 million people at one point felt so. They enjoyed your content so much that they hit the subscribe button. That is an accomplishment, right? And that's an amazing accomplishment. But that was in the past. But it's something that we all have a past, we all have a future. And I don't know. I think what you're saying is admirable. But I also, and I mean this with all due respect, I think it's kind of bullshit because if you say I'm going to live in the moment, I think that's awesome, and everybody should enjoy what they're doing in the moment. But I think without any sort of plan to get to where you want to go, then I think in 6 months from now, and 3 months from now, a year from now, you're in the same place. And you are, to use Keem's words, you're on level 1, right? And I don't know. I guess it's just a different philosophy.
Okay, so let me take it to two different answers. Okay, first, let me say I'm not saying that the past didn't make me who I am today, and I'm saying that it doesn't affect me. I'm saying it's over. It's gone. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing I can do to change it. There's nothing I can do. Regret doesn't help. I fucked up bad. I fucked up so bad in terms of my body, in terms of my internet career, in terms of personal relationships. I fucked up so bad. There's no amount of regret that can change any of that. It's done. It's a done thing. It's not a tangible thing that I can fix or affect or change in any way. So why am I spending any more time on it than I have to? And there is some have to, right? I'm still on parole. Okay. I definitely have to deal with that. It affects mine now. So I'm not disregarding that. But what I'm saying is, to quote Alan Watts to some degree, and if you don't know Alan Watts, you should look him up. He's kooky as hell, and I love him. But I've learned to trust the universe. If I'm homeless in 6 months, that's what the universe has decided. That's the story we're telling. If the actions that I take today and the actions that I take every today results in my homelessness, then that's what it results in. I have to trust the universe. And if I am doing the things that I need to do every day, hopefully that won't be where I end up. But whatever it is, it's an adventure. Whatever it is, it's something that I'm here to experience. Whatever it is, it's a lesson for my greater self to learn. I don't want to be homeless. I will avoid it at all costs. I'll do everything I can to pay my bills. I'll do everything I can to make sure I can take care of myself and the people that rely on me. But I'll do that in the today. I'm doing that today. What can I do today to take care of myself and my family? What can I do today to make sure that I have a good day? But I mean, I do have plans to some degree. I know that I'm enjoying working on my new show. So I'm going to work on it every day. And I'm working on it right now. And hopefully it'll have good results. Maybe it won't. And I know I'm enjoying working on my body. Do what?
Where do you see yourself in like 6 months from now? Like
no
post
clue.
the fight?
No clue. Where I want to be?
Yeah. Sure.
Where I want to be is I would like to be happy, healthy, wise, and fit, and experiencing life to the best of my ability. I'd like to think I'm still in my same house, though that's probably up for grabs at this point with my income issues. I'd like to think I still got the same friends and the same family. I'd like to think I still got my dog, though my oldest one is really starting to show ages of bad health issues. I'd like to think that this podcast that I'm working on will take off and a lot of people will really enjoy it. I'd like to think that, but I don't even know if the nukes will drop between now and then, so I don't worry about it too much. Does that make sense?
I actually think you guys are both right. I think it's an amalgamation of both. I think your past does matter to an extent, but Craig, I think you're so used to having your now planned out that you can plan for the future, but addicts or certain people can't do that. Like I when I was going through that program, I couldn't plan for the future because I had to worry about today. And if I didn't worry about today, I was using. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you're taught to think that way. And I think that's for certain people that works better because they have to control what they're doing now rather than what they're doing 6 months from now.
And I do think there's another element for me as well. I'm not in the best of health. I'm 48 years old. There's a lot of fat people and there's a lot of old people. There's not a lot of old fat people. And so trying to expect, oh, I definitely am going to be alive in 6 months. I'm definitely going to be alive in a year. I mean, come on. I before the polycythemia, I was a huge candidate for a stroke or heart attack. So, I mean, that's, I would rather do everything I can to treat every day like the gift that it is, like I think we all should be doing. And I think he's right in terms of wanting to make sure I'm controlling myself every day, because it does take a lot of work. I don't like to admit that ever, even to myself, but I'm trying to be much more genuine since I did the psychedelics. And it takes a lot of work to get this body and this brain out of bed. It takes a lot of work to get me up and walking. It takes a lot of work to get this brain and this body to work on something I love,
So, you mentioned obviously you're 48, you're overweight, right? You're trying to do something, trying to get in this fight. You're gonna fight this fight. I would love to hear your thoughts on the body positivity movement. Knowing what you know now at 48 years old, been overweight for most of your adult life, right? Outside of there was a window where you had the weight loss surgery, which we can get into that in a little bit. But just your overall thoughts on this idea that fat is healthy and the body positivity movement as a whole. What are your thoughts on it?
All right, first off, don't normalize this. Please do not normalize this. This is not healthy. Do not normalize this. Please do not let people that look like this, that feel like I do not let them wake up every day thinking that's normal, because it's not. You are diseased. You're diseased. And I feel healthy now. I'm healthy now. Yeah, you're healthy now. But when your back goes, it's going to go forever. I know, because mine went. When your knees go, they're going to go forever. When you're diabetic forever. I mean, I'm in remission right now, but I still have to deal with it. I do not normalize this. This is not normal. This is not healthy. The one thing I think that the body positivity movement gets correct is that you got to love yourself, but you got to love yourself enough to fix it. You got to love yourself enough to say, I deserve better than to die in my 50s in misery. I deserve to do better for myself. And that's what I think I've learned now.
I mean, I think a lot of what you're saying sounds really good on in like what you're saying, the context of it. But I got to be honest, it really does kind of sound like we're sitting in an intervention and you're convincing us that this is your new way of life. And
I mean, that's okay. I respect that.
No, yeah, and believe me when I say this, like, I really hope that's where you really are, because if this is true and you're reaching this point where you're like, I fucked my body up, like I totally am shitting on my my future, which whether it exists or not, it will be here eventually, right? So you're gonna have to face when your knees go, when anything else goes. So if you're reaching these points, like, that's really good. I'm really happy to hear that. I just
will allow me to be genuine.
Go on.
And I hope you're here for, man.
And fully disappoint you, because I have been here for years. I've had this mentality for years. When my back went, I've had that mentality since. I didn't know the how. I didn't know how to get my brain and my body to get up and moving and get to doing this. I didn't know how to overcome my eating disorder, because that's what it is. Let's be genuine. I have an eating disorder. I am a food addict, and I'm having to learn all the different ways to defeat that addiction. And it's also a really complicated addiction, because I have to use 3 to 5 times a day to keep my body fit, to keep it healthy, to keep it moving. You can't just starve yourself. That's not how any of this works. So I got to go back to that drug all the time. And it's a hell of a balancing act. And I cannot tell you that I am capable of it. I can tell you I have all the desire in the world. I can tell you I have all the knowledge and understanding in the world. I don't know that I have the discipline. And I don't know that I have the practice. And it's going to take time, but I have charted downwards and charted healthier for the last 17 years that I've been on YouTube. Pull up one of my original videos. Look at a 600-pound man eating French fries in front of a camera and compare me to that man today. I have trended healthier and better every day, and I hope that I'll do that. Do I know that before my card is punched that I'll ever be under 200 pounds? I don't know that. I can't say that I know that. But I can assure you that everything I'm saying today is genuine. These are genuine thoughts and genuine desires and genuine feelings. But I cannot make any promises to whether or not I will beat my addiction, because I have lost to it so many times. I have had that fight so many times, and it has beat my ass so many times. Right now I'm winning. Right, right now I'm winning. But I don't know.
So I'm really, I'm kind of accurate in that vibe that I'm sensing. That it's like, I can almost get this vibe that you haven't actually won that battle that you're fighting against yourself.
I don't think you ever really do win. Yeah, I don't think you ever win the war. I should say you do win battles.
Well, war is life. Right. Life is that battle. And it's like whether you're steering the tide of the battlefield or not. It's like it's like you want to. You really want to. Of course, I'm frozen. You really want to win that war. You really want to be able to steer the ship where you want to go. And I'm getting the vibe that that's what you want. But you're like, but the winds are so strong and the wheels just, it's spinning. I can't grab it right now. That's the vibe I'm getting.
I will say that if the model of the universe that I got from my mushroom trip is accurate, when I was rolling up this character and I said, I want to be this person at this time, at this place, born to these parents, born to this part of the world, in this specific universe, on this specific timeline. One of the challenges that I needed to overcome, one of the challenges I wanted to overcome, one of the challenges I rolled up for that character to fight is this addiction to food. And I hope that by the time I punch my card, I'll have learned whatever I needed to learn by putting that obstacle in my own way.
I think it's hard for people who have never been around addicts or been addicted to anything real bad or to see the perspective of it, because they don't know what it's like to look at something and want it every second of every day and be compelled to only do that thing. You know what I'm saying? And literally while you're watching TV, you're thinking about food. While you're doing this, you're thinking about food. While you're, or whatever it may be you're addicted to. Yep. But while you're on the bathroom, you're thinking about food. While you're walking your dog, you're thinking about food. While you're doing this, you're thinking about food every second of every day.
Yeah. Would this be better if I was eating right now? Oh man, I've told people this, and it's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever said, but I don't mind saying it here. I once I went to Krispy Kreme after a doctor's visit. This is after my bypass surgery, for the record. And it's just, my doctor happens to be real close to a Krispy Kreme, 1.5 miles away. So it became a habit to get the donuts. And I ate like 4 or 5 of them in the car on the way home because I'm fat as hell. And then I got home and I threw them away in the garbage out in the garage because I was disgusted with myself for having eaten 5 donuts in a car ride. And I didn't even think about eating them. You don't enjoy them when you're driving. You're just putting them in your face. Just putting them in your face. I didn't get to enjoy the food. And so I threw those donuts in the trash. And then later that night, went out to the trash and got those donuts out. And I ate those donuts while crying about the fact that I was eating those donuts. And I still finished them. That's a thing I did. That's how embarrassing it is to be that out of control. But that's how out of control I have been in this life. I'm definitely not that out of control now. And I don't even know if I should say this, but the people that are in my life, I have 2 people that live with me, are very close to me, lifelong friends. They see this fight, the challenge that I'm in. I've had tremendous support, even to the point that when I got done live streaming last night, there's a salad waiting for me, ready to go. And didn't even have to think about what I was eating. They're just making it that much easier for me. And I think with that support structure being the best that it's ever been, even better than when I was married, and having the people online that are supporting me and having this new knowledge and information, I think I'm probably doing better than I've ever done, but I still can't make promises because I'm an addict. You know, all I can ever promise is that I'll do my best, you know?
And I understand that.
Right. And as pointed out in the chat, I think Funny Whip says it takes courage to be so honest with your weaknesses. And it sounds like you're very upfront about them and you are also realistic about things. I want to, you've obviously struggled with your weight for a long time. And one of the things that, you've been well documented is you had this weight loss surgery, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. And I was watching something last night that was really intriguing to me. And so you had this weight loss surgery with the intention of, was it like a lap band type thing where
I got gastric bypass, where they take out about 10 inches of small intestines, and then they remove 90% of your stomach and move it to the side. They reconnect a new stomach, about 10% of your original size. And then you have to keep your old stomach in there to produce juices that help you digest your food when they're in the small intestines. And so it restricts the ability to consume as much food in one setting as possible. And then it also causes some malabsorption, which means you won't get every calorie from a food. So if you eat 3,000 calories, you might only get 2,800 calories out of it because you have a shorter trip through the intestines to get there. Okay,
so you had this surgery, and I don't want to get too personal on this, but
no, go ahead. I'm an open book. Please do.
So the one thing that was said about this surgery, that apparently after this surgery is done, there's and at the time you were married, and there's like an 85% divorce rate after this surgery is completed.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So going into that, you knew that there was an 85%, you know, in just historically, there's an 85% chance of divorce.
Yep.
Why did you do it?
So let's be entirely genuine. Again, here's a first for you, Craig, because I've never even said this on live stream. Number one, I was dying. I've said that. I when I had my meeting with the bariatric surgeon, I had a blood pressure of 210 over 180, which is emergency situation, like emergency room, go get pumped full of atenolol kind of situation. But that was my walking around every day blood pressure. I was ready to explode like a bloated tick. So he very blatantly said, look, you're dying. I don't normally work on anybody over 500 pounds, but I'm willing to do it for you because if I don't, you're going to die. So please lose another 50 pounds, get under 500 pounds. Please do this work, take my courses, get the education, and let's make it work. And my ex-wife, to her credit, because I am going to say some negative things about her right here, and I'm sorry, but I want to be genuine. To her credit, she helped me through that surgery. She helped me through the courses prior to it. And that woman was having to help me in and out of my wheelchair prior to that surgery. And I do not blame her for being sick of my shit, being sick of being married to a disabled man, being sick to someone who is married more to his job than he was his wife, being sick of getting harassed every single day, people harassing her at her work, harassing her in her home, having to live the internet lifestyle that I thrust upon us. She helped me with that, but she certainly did not enjoy the negative aspects of it, and it was damaging to our marriage. But I knew months before that surgery that we would most likely separate after the surgery. And we confirmed that about a month before the surgery. I'm like, look, I know you're unhappy, and I am very unhappy. And this marriage is not working. And I think we can get through this surgery, and you can choose to leave after we do. And I'll be glad to see you go at this point because we are not happy and we need to find our happiness. And I want that for you. And I definitely want that for me. But I think I'm going to be a completely different person after the surgery. I think you're not going to have to worry about the weight issues. You're not going to have to worry about me being disabled. You're not going to have to do these things. You won't have to be a caretaker anymore. And we can go back to being the couple we were 2 years ago. And I would very much like to try that. Would you like to try that? And we did to some degree, but we realized it still wasn't going to work. The magic was out of it. The genie was out of the bottle. My disability and my near-death experience had killed the romantic love we had for each other, but we do still to this day have a familial love. I literally just got off the phone with her a couple of days ago, and we shared our lives, and she's excited for the fight and wished me well. But that's the reality of it is I knew going into that surgery, and I've never really said it, but I knew going into that surgery we were done. It was just a matter of getting me through it. It was still extremely devastating for me, though, to lose her, but at least I had the knowledge. But go ahead.
I was going to ask you, most children see it a long time ahead of time before their parents are going to get divorced. Having not been divorced myself, I don't know, but I only know it from the child's perspective. Did you guys know did you know a long time ahead of time that you were going to get a divorce? Did you see it coming before that, or was that your moment?
I think she saw it before me. And then I started picking up on the signs that she knew it. And my model of marriage, being a 48-year-old man, 45 at the time that we divorced, or 43, however old I was, raised in the Southern Appalachians. When you marry for life. Doesn't matter if it gets bad. Doesn't matter if it gets shitty. I stood up in front of God and everybody, and I said forever. And I meant forever. It didn't matter if she put me through hell or I put her through hell. Didn't matter. We were going to stay married. And it was interesting because her marriage failed without anybody really going through hell. I mean, it wasn't great that I was dying, and it certainly wasn't great that she was in a caretaker role, but it's not like we were screaming at each other. It's not like we were fighting each other. We certainly weren't doing what my parents did. Right. So it kind of blindsided me at first. But then as we discussed it, I'm unhappy. I need a change. What changes can we make in the parameters of our marriage? And when we began to look at those changes, it wasn't going to work. It just the parameters of the marriage had to fail for her to find herself and for me to find myself. And I did not do a very good job of finding myself. If you followed me through 2018, 2019, even a good chunk of 2020, I was a righteous asshole. I was such a complete piece of shit. I'm so embarrassed of the things I did during that period of time. If I could change it, I so certainly would. But I can't. It is what it is now. But no, I'd say the earliest I knew for certain, like I knew that it's air I'm breathing. I knew that in June of 2017. And for the sake of her family, I had to lie online too. I kind of let it slip out one day, and she was very hurt by that. And I was like, okay, I can fake it if I need to, you know. And I think I did a good job. But I really started getting an inkling about it as early as March or April of that year.
So you knew going in.
Yeah, I knew. I knew we were done. Yeah.
Right. You know, obviously you kind of shifted your content over the years. You know, you started off as Francis, this, you know, overweight guy who's funny, yelling at things and is over the top and kind of angry video game nerdish, you know, very like a character. You know, and you saw tremendous success, and you've shifted to be a little more transparent, talk about mental health, you know, battles with depression, things like that. Do you feel like boxing is really the best way to deal with this?
Probably not, but it's an opportunity the universe has presented for me, so I'm going to take it. I don't know what the best option is. I don't have the ability to scale out on the cosmic scale and look at every timeline and figure out which is the most positive one. That's why I'm experiencing one, and I was destined to experience the one in which I box. So we're going to do it. There's probably a bunch of timelines in which I experienced this boxing match. Some of which I die at the end of it, and some of which I have positive outcome of it. I don't know which one this is going to be, but I'm excited to find out.
It's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, like, well, as pointed out, Keemstar, as just so you know, Coley has been very critical of you taking this fight and says Keemstar is not the universe. You know, we've seen people who have said, they see this as a car wreck waiting to happen. How can they possibly do this? They say it as a kind of exploitation and such. What's your response to that criticism of it?
Well, again, Keemstar, I'm sorry, bud, but you never should have signed me up if you didn't expect me to be genuine. So let's be genuine. Okay? Any fight is a form of exploitation to some degree. Even with the healthiest boxers, they are signing up to get hurt and hurt another person. That's what the sport is.
Unless both of those parties thoroughly enjoy and seek out the ability to hurt others.
Right. And so giving us the opportunity to sign up for that, we are adults. We are making a choice. I can choose to live in my prison of comfort that I have made for myself, or I can put myself out of it. I'm choosing to be exploited. The same way I bet a lot of you choose to be exploited every day when you go to your job, when you wake up every day and you work in a broken capitalistic system. We are all being exploited all of the time. My situation here is a lot more dire. Some of you who work construction, some of you who work some of the dirtier jobs, you risk your life every time you go in. But most of you guys clocking in at an office space or even just your local McDonald's or whatever it is you do for a living, you're probably not risking your life every day. I am risking my life here. I'm just doing it all at once, though. I'm getting all the exploitation out of the way all at once in a 6-minute match. But to me, yeah, this is exploitive, but we live in an exploitive society. Social media by its essence is exploitive. I'm on this live stream right now to benefit Craig and his audience and Craig's income. That's what I'm here doing right now, is being exploited to some degree. I have voluntarily done it. So I don't know. I don't see it as much different as everything I've always ever done, whether it's putting myself on social media to be exploited by YouTube or exploited by Twitter or exploited by those other companies to make money, or when I worked as security at the hyper building, so my labor could be exploited by the university. The one difference here is that there's a mortal risk to this one. But there's a lot of mortal risks to a lot of jobs. You ever met a cop? They risk their lives every single day. They're being exploited by the billionaires who fund that system.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I think that you're an adult. You can make your own decisions. And, you know, if you're not an adult, you know, yeah, there's exploitation. But I think as an adult, you have the opportunity to make your own decisions. And, you know, to be fair, like this show is also being exploited to raise awareness for your fight. You know,
Yeah,
so
right.
it's a tug of war. You know,
Right.
it's a
And
it's a
whatever
win-win for all.
platform you monetize this on is taking their percentage too. Your labor is being exploited. This everybody here is it's the nature of what we do. But you could also look at it from a different perspective. And I'm compelled to say this by my psychedelic information and knowledge. Are we exploiting one another, or are we working together to achieve some sort of common goal in the great scheme of things? Right. At the end of the day, I don't really understand, nor do I have the capacity to understand what all of this is about. But I could say, oh, Craig had me on to exploit me today, and I'm exploiting Craig to help promote the fight, and maybe it'll generate views for me. Or I could say I'm helping Craig out, and Craig can say he's helping me out, and that's also true. So guess how I choose to look at it every day.
Right. So let's take a step back again, and one of your biggest, say one of the bigger criticisms that people have of you is people who, you know, those who don't know, I feel like a kind of set the table here, is you made a video talking about your, you know, you made a video talking about your success with crypto. You went all in on crypto.
Yeah.
And then the crypto market fell out, you know, and you essentially went bankrupt, right? You pretty much lost.
I mean, I got to a financial level where I looked at my savings and I'm like, yeah, I lose my house in less than a year if I don't correct this ship by making more content, by making better content, and by finally tapping my audience and finally getting them to engage. Because I've never done that. I've had a Patreon, but I never promoted it. I live stream, but I never asked for donations. I'd never been the e-beggar people thought I was. So I thought, hey, you know what? If it'll keep me and my family in this house, then maybe it's worth going ahead and giving it a shot. And I gave it a shot.
So I'm curious with your crypto investment, what crypto did you invest in? And if you know, and you can say as much or as little as you want.
Oh, I'll say all of it. I'll say all of it.
Well, how much did you invest?
Had about $175,000 to my name. And I was beginning to see my ship sink on YouTube. Keep in mind, most of my Francis videos never earned money. I didn't get paid very much, if at all.
It was too early in YouTube. Yeah,
the table flip. I didn't make money. On top of that, when monetization really started settling in, they demonetized all of that. Because what is the character? He swears constantly. He breaks shit. He simulates fighting. All of that's against terms of services. So if there's an ad on those videos, and there rarely is, those ads are the lowest quality ads paying the least amount of money. And so my option at that point would be to crowdsource. But I didn't care about being a millionaire. I had probably one of the most telling moments of my life. I got invited to this YouTube summit in Boston, or no, in Manhattan. And we were the meatpacking district. And I'm there with like Casey Neistat and Jake Paul and my friend Matthew Santoro and Ashley and ASAP Science. And it was this crazy wild time. Ariana Grande performed for us. OK Go performed for us. Cardi B spoke to us. Tony Hawk. Like, I don't have like this like complete out of body experience. I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And at one of the dinners, I'm sitting with Matthew Santoro, and he's like, well, look, Boogie, everybody in this room's a millionaire. And I looked around and I realized I'm the only not millionaire that got invited to this thing. I was never going to be. I wasn't even close to being a millionaire. I wasn't financially secure when that happened. So I just was shocked by it. So when my friend looked at my $175,000 in the bank account, and he had 10x'd his money with crypto because he got in super, super early, he's like, put everything you got in there. And since I was suicidal, I thought, let's go. All right. If I lose all my money, I'm going to kill myself anyway. And if I make a bunch of money and I'm financially sound, maybe I'll stick it out. So I put my money in, and at one point, and people are going to die when they hear this. I'm so sorry. But at one point, I was close to all the money I had in my house, my Magic collection, everything I was worth. I was almost a millionaire, almost worth $1 million. That's not enough for me to retire off of. That's not enough for any human to retire off of in the current economy. But it was enough to where I could live off of for the next 10 years comfortably at spending $75,000 a year, $80,000 a year. And that was enough for me. So I made the video. I'm like, hey, guys, I am financially secure. I don't want you guys donating on my live streams anymore. I don't want you guys cancel my Patreon. It's over. Don't worry about merch. I'm not going to do brand deals anymore. Don't worry about it. I am the most secure I've ever been in this entire YouTube thing, and I want you to know that I'm going to be okay. If you go back and watch the video, that's what I say. I don't say I'm rich. I don't say I'm flush with cash. I don't say I'm buying a yacht. I'm saying I have almost enough to retire off of. But even though I don't, I have enough to live off of for the next 10 years. And since I'm so fat and so old, I probably won't live that long anyway. So I'm okay, and I'm going to be okay. That was the point of that video for me. But people don't, most people don't watch the video. They look at the thumbnail, they look at the title. And I definitely gave it the wrong thumbnail, and I definitely gave it the wrong title. Like, that's on me, 100%. Fast forward to a little while longer, and I had made some unsafe crypto bets because my friend encouraged me to make unsafe crypto bets. And then that money was worth less than I had originally invested. And I'm like, holy shit, I've lost money here. But I stayed silent about it for the better part of a year and a half. And I had to go through the legal fees and spend $27,000 on that. And then I had to continue to pay for my cost of living and my insurance and my health and everything else. And I looked at my bank account, and entirely genuine. I looked at my bank account after having spent money through COVID, having spent all that money on healthcare and therapy and everything else. And I'm like, wow, I'm down to about $25,000. I'm going to lose everything in the next 6 months because I have almost zero income. I've got to get shit figured out. I talked it over with my friend Emily. I talked it over with my friend Mike. They said the internet has always loved you. Your audience has always loved you. They've always wanted to support you. You've never let them. You've barely sold anything. You barely run ads. You barely promote your Patreon. It's time to do those things, Boogie. And I did, and it blew up in my fucking face. And next thing you know, Sonny V2's riding my dick like he does once every 3 months, because that's what he does. He's made 8, 9, 10, 12 videos about me. Like, just admit you want to fuck me, dude. Just admit that I'm your crush.
I actually just watched one of his videos this morning, and we were about to ask you about what do you think of those videos? Have they affected your life?
Oh, did he make a new one about me?
No,
Oh,
I think it's a couple years
yeah.
old. It was very much about you buying Tesla, a Tesla car.
They have affected my life exactly as much as they were cosmically probably supposed to, which is to say very, very badly. I think Sonny wakes up in the morning and says, how can I hurt people for my own gain today? He definitely did that with Chris in the Mr. Beast situation. I think he woke up in the morning and said, how much chaos can I sow and also make money doing it? How many lives can I fucking destroy today? And then he plans it out, and then he does it. I think that's the person he is. And if he's not that person, I'm fucking shocked by it, because who could have made that Mr. Beast video and not thought this is going to hurt a tremendous number of people? He knows what he's doing. He has to know. And so has he woke up 8, 9 different times and said, I'm going to hold Boogie to the fucking fire as hard as I can today because I know it'll make me money. Yeah, that's what he does.
Well, can we talk about the Tesla a little bit? Because you went and bought a Tesla, and then you made a video saying you couldn't afford it.
So that's one of my favorite stories. And it shows you, I hope, how misinformation really works. Mm-hmm. But I was with my friend Jesse up in DC. We went and test drove a Tesla because a fan wanted us to. And he hard sold me on that shit. And I'm a sucker, man. I'm such a sucker on anything. Number one, he pretended to like me, which is enough for me to, really learn to like you. But then on top of that, he's like, dude, imagine this car is going to be self-driving within a year. You'll be able to sleep while it's earning you money. And it's going to be, just imagine, it'll be the new Uber, the new taxi, right? And so I put my down payment, and I tweet about it. Hey, I just put my down payment on a Tesla. I'm going to get this thing. And there's this group of people who, I mean, we all have them. I would imagine you guys have them, this group of people that are just like obsessed with you and like just want to they want to affect your life. They want to either negatively impact it or try to destroy it. Or, I mean, my group of people said they wanted to see me kill myself and they're going to try to drive me to it. But then you also have like less miserable people than that. And that group of people decided that even though I had that money in crypto, even though I'd made a good amount of money, I could have bought 3 Teslas at the time. I could easily paid for that out of cash. And that was my plan. But like, he's trying to force his fans to buy him one. So that was the message I was reading my whole trip. That was the message. So I got home on live stream and I'm doing a bit. And I'm like, now I want you guys to pay for my Tesla. Reach down in your pockets. If one of you out there has $100,000, you can just go ahead and donate it. Or I guess if it takes 2 of you, you can donate 50,000. Or I guess if it takes 4 of you, you can each donate 25,000. But obviously, I'll get my Tesla paid for immediately tonight, right? I'm doing a bit. And they chop up that bit, and it's the next morning, it's on the front page of Reddit. Completely out of context, completely. And again, I'm not a good actor. I don't know how anybody on Reddit fell for this shit. But these guys were really good. This little subreddit was very good. What they would do is astroturfing, if you're familiar with the phrase. They would take a clip and they would talk about it. They would maneuver it till it's just like the perfect consistency. And then they would all submit it to as many subreddits as they could. And then they would all upvote each other's little posts. And they would use bots to upvote them until eventually it caught on the subreddit. And they had a glorious day that day. So then eventually, I really looked at it. And I'm like, I know my future's not that bright. It's bright now, but I don't know how bright it'll be. I should be more worried about saving than investing in a show car, because that was my plan with it. It was going to be my future car. I have a friend who runs a car museum up in Branson, and we were going to take my Model X with the winged doors and kit it out to look like a Back to the Future car. So It's going to be a Back to the Future Tesla. And I thought that would be a cool show car, and hopefully it would make me money. But I'm like, I probably can't afford investment like that. So I ended up walking it back. And that made things look even worse, because they're like, well, now that he knows his fans won't pay for it. But I just thought it was the financial decision to do. And also, that hard sell had wore off. I no longer believed it was going to be an Uber that made me money by self-driving while I slept. I began to realize how slick that salesman was and how full of shit he was. And realized it's just another car, but too expensive.
So take a step back. I was doing a little research off the side. You said you were being sold something by a Tesla salesman?
Yeah. We went to DC and did a test drive.
But there's no Tesla they don't have dealerships. You buy it all online.
They certainly have showrooms. I promise you they do.
Yeah, they have showrooms.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
I've been to a showroom.
I literally have video footage of my channel of me and Jesse taking that test drive. So I assure you.
Yeah, maybe it's different down here in Texas. Cool. Yeah, because there's some electric gas rules. I don't know what it is, but okay, cool. So it's obviously a mistake. It sounds like
I mean, buying the car was a mistake.
Right.
Why? Like, I mean, you've made videos in the past saying you're going to save up. How do you get from saving up to buying a Tesla?
Because I thought it was going to be a show car. I was talking to my friends up at Scott and those guys up at the Celebrity Car Museum up in Branson, and I'm like, I test drove the thing, and I'm like, I love the wing doors. I've always wanted a car with wing doors, and I can fit in this one, unlike a Countach or whatever, right? I can actually fit in this one. And so I'm texting my friend. I'm like, if we bought this thing and I kitted it out, how much would it cost me to kit it out? Like, I could do it for $10,000, maybe $15,000. Okay. And like, we're talking flux capacitor and Mr. Energy and all that shit on the back. And he's like, yeah, like 100%. We could even modernize it a little bit. And I'm like, if I put that on Twitter and Elon Musk, who it's sad to say had a bit of a man crush on at the time, saw that, maybe he'd retweet it, and then it could be a cool show car. And their job is to have show cars, right? So they make so much money renting out their Breaking Bad car, renting out their General Lee, renting out their Fast and Furious cars. And they're like, you're going to make so much money from this. You're going to make so much money from this. So in my mind, it was an investment. It was a stupid investment, though. I mean, investing in a Tesla is like burning money. You have to replace that battery. Oh my God, you're so fucked.
So okay, so you saw dollar signs when as an investment. It sounds like you have a hard time when a friend or an opportunity, you know, we talk about crypto, we talk about this Tesla, we talk about, you know, it sounds like you have a hard time. You say you're a people person, you're a people
pleaser, almost as if I'm a people pleaser, almost as if I was raised in an abusive home by abusive narcissistic parents, almost as if I was a copy paste of every person who's ever gone through what I've gone through. Almost.
Have you ever thought about hiring a financial advisor or an accountant to help?
I got one now. I mean, I don't have any money for him to work with, but yeah.
No, that's not the same guy that you're doing the mushroom, the penis envy.
No.
Okay, just making sure.
No,
because you keep those separate.
Do you want to know how much I paid for all of that therapy through him?
No,
$7.
$0.
All right.
I did give him gas.
It's a good
money.
price.
I did end up giving him gas money out of kindness, but he does it for free. I'm sure he loses money on it at the end of the day, but he does it for free.
Okay. So do you, I think a lot of this, you know, your experiences as an adult, and we've circled back to this many, many times. But I think a lot of this stems from your relationship with your parents. You know, you just said it yourself. You had this tough relationship with your parents, and ultimately it led you to devalue yourself, which ultimately led to poor relationships with women, which ultimately led to, you know, once again, devaluing yourself more, which led to wanting to please people. There's a very clear line of demarcations across the way that actions in your childhood led to you being certain ways as an adult.
Yeah, I mean, your childhood is a very formative time, and going through trauma as a child is difficult. Going through trauma as an adult is difficult, but going through it as a child, it's going to really, really schedule out your life for you real good. And when that trauma isn't once or twice or 10 or 100 or 1,000 times, but when it's every day for 18 years, it does a number on you for sure. But I can't blame my childhood for any adult decisions I've made. It definitely slanted my choice towards an option, but I always had the option, right? Every addict has the option to do the drug. Every criminal has the option not to do the crime. And so I have to pay the penalty for not, even though when I looked at the boxes, there was the 99% here. I'm always going to choose this because this is how my brain is wired. And there's the 1% here. I still have to hold myself accountable for not choosing the better 1%. And my life is a product of making those bad choices. And I have the self-awareness now to make better choices, but I'll give you the credit to even say, maybe this fight is part of that. Maybe it is part of it. Keemstar offering the opportunity. I don't want to disappoint Keemstar. Maybe it is because I want to please the audience out there that likes me. Maybe part of it is that as well. That's the problem with being crazy. That's the problem with being delusional. When you're delusional, you don't know their delusions. When you're schizophrenic, you don't know their voices. So if I'm batshit crazy right now, I don't know that. I think I'm sane. I've always thought I was sane. I can look at my past and realize those are some crazy ass choices you made. Those are some dumbass decisions you made. So it's I don't know. Every day I'm trying to exert some level of control on my choices, and I'm probably more successful at it than I've ever been. But people like me are definitely products of our environment, and definitely products of our abuse, and definitely products of our trauma.
Yeah. And see, I was going to say, I think you don't give as much credit to your abuse as a child from your parents to your decisions in your younger years, not now, clearly. And I think it becomes more your fault as you get older if you make bad decisions. But I certainly think in your early 20s and stuff, it's very much affected by how you were treated as a child.
I think it's a big part of it. And I think there's still, even at the ripe old age of 48, and having done group therapy and spoken with people in their 50s and even 60s who were abused children who are still in recovery, because you always will be, having read books about it, having participated in subreddits on it, you never get fully removed from this. It's such an important part. The school you went to, the education you got, the food you ate, the medications you took. Did you ingest poison as a child? That could infect you for the rest of your life. ingested a type of poison for 18 years. It's going to affect my brain and my body forever. I can learn to live with that effect. I can learn to live a good and healthy life with that effect, but it will always have that impact on my brain and my body. People look at me and they see a very undisciplined person. And in most regards, that is true. I'm a very undisciplined person because I do not assign my effort to a lot of things that other people are able to assign their effort to. I assign my effort into dealing with the tremendous amount of damage that was done to me and trying to live a healthy life regardless.
This is tough, right? It's tough to hear, right? That you acknowledge the idea that you've had some trauma in your life, tremendous trauma, right? A tough childhood. Have you gone to any therapy that has suggested the idea of more or less not allowing it to define you, not, grabbing that by the horns and I said the
I've read all the self-help books that imply that, and I've definitely spoken to therapists about it. The most beneficial therapy I've ever had was the last 6-7 months with the last therapist I just had, and we terminated recently, like put it on pause. It realistically, I can go back to them whenever I'm ready. But it was cognitive behavioral, not necessarily like trying to, hey, I need to redefine myself outside of that, because I don't think that works. I genuinely don't. For me, might work for you. It doesn't work for me.
Right.
I'm trying to define myself within the parameters of the truth of the reality. And so we worked on cognitive behavioral options. And hey, this is how that makes me feel. This is how this makes me think. Well, how can we react to how you feel? And how can we change things so that you don't feel that way as often? And how can we change the way you think? And that was the most beneficial for me by a lot.
Right. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I feel okay. I mean, I know you got the big fight coming up, and I'm very intrigued to see what becomes of that. Like I said, I think just from looking at your fighting stance, at least in the videos and your hands down here, I just implore you to get your hands up, my man. Get your hands up.
Yes, that's
keep that down.
I will tell you that. I will tell you this. So I have a prediction about this fight.
Please.
Every fiber of my being says I want to knock his ass down. And every fiber of my being says that should be pretty easy to do, having watched him get winded after 25 seconds of hitting a back. But I think the reality of it is I have not done as much training as I needed to be able to do that. I don't think I'm as strong as I'm needed to be able to do that. I think a leaf could knock him down. I just don't know if I'm as strong as a leaf right now. My goal going into this fight is to make it through 3 rounds. And judges can do whatever the hell they want at that point. If he wins, he wins. But I win by standing there. I win by getting through it. I win by having been in a fucking wheelchair and not being able to stand up for the 10 seconds it took for me to get out of that chair to get into my bed, to being able to stand up for 3 minutes while a guy knocks me around. If I can do that, I win. I win. If I survive this thing, I win. I don't care what the judges say, and I'm going to take that to the bank for me.
And if you get your jaw broken,
it'll heal. Jaws heal.
All right. Well, hey man, Adam, you got anything before we roll out?
I just hope that you're reaching this point for you, instead of trying to convince us or the audience. Like, I'm not doubting, but I want to believe you. So I really hope that you're reaching these points, and you're getting healthy on your own, and you're doing it for you truly to reach a happiness in your own life and a healthy position. Because I want everyone to be happy and healthy. So
I appreciate that, man. And I'll tell you, I think time will tell. I 2 years ago when I was saying this stuff, I knew.
It was all bullshit.
I knew I didn't think I had what it took. I just don't think I had what it took. And I'm like, I have no confidence in myself. I have no confidence that I can do this. I have a good amount of confidence right now that I can continue to be healthier and happier every day. And I plan to do that. Whether or not that means I'm going to look the way people want me to look, I don't know. But I do know, I can promise you I'm living my best life right now and the happiest and healthiest I've ever been. I wasn't this healthy when I was 15. So I hope that continues, and I hope that you'll be proud when the time comes. But I know as it is right now, I'm proud of shit. I'm so happy to be me. I'm really, really proud of what I've accomplished so far.
All right. Labs?
I would just say I hope you keep working out even after the fight.
Absolutely.
Maintain a positive, healthy environment.
Thank you. That's the plan. I do worry, like Craig said, if my jaw gets broken, that's a little bit of lay down time. So Wings, don't break my jaw. Okay.
He's going to break your jaw.
You heard it here first.
Trav?
He's going to try. I mean,
I just understand you a lot more, and I have a lot more perspective on who you are and your motives for doing this now. And I just wanted to say that I understand it a lot more.
Thank you, man. I really feel like I connected with you on this. I really appreciate you, man. I look forward to seeing some more of your content and seeing what you're doing. I think everybody in this room, I think you guys are great. And I hope this has been a good interview. I hope your audience has liked it. But if nothing else, I feel like I touched a kindred soul during this, man. And I'm glad we got to do that today.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I say, I just to echo what Adam said, anytime we do an interview, it's never to, we ask questions that I think people want to know. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's up to whoever we ask to answer those questions. Right. And we'll listen. And if we hear bullshit, we'll call it. Right. And that's kind of what we do. With that said, everybody here wants what's best for you. Everyone here wants what's best for anybody that we talk to. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, which is for you to feel better about yourself, for you to, once again, in your words, not waste what you have. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. It has to be for you before anybody else. So
let me share one piece of perspective, because I think it'll bring you some comfort. I learned to understand something very valuable. And then, again, this is psychedelics. And I know I'm a broken record, man. I can't not talk about it. I'm so sorry. But even the worst shit we go through is a gift. All the pain, all the misery, that's part of life. And it's kind of great. It's kind of great. So if this turns out to be a very awesome, positive experience, great. And if it turns out to suck and I break a shoulder or have to recover from some shit, whatever it is, that's also great. I am just happy as a pig in shit to be here. I'm happy as a pig in shit to be alive. And so know that no matter what I'm going through, whatever the outcome of this fight is, I'm going to take full advantage of it and enjoy every second of it. And I'm just glad to still be here and alive to do it.
So the fight is coming up on the 13th.
That's May 13th. Yeah, May 13th. You can watch it live on the Drama Alert channel. It's the prelim for Misfits 7. If you want to get the pay-per-view, watch the whole thing, you're absolutely welcome to do that. But the prelims are all going to be live on the Drama Alert channel May 13th, and I hope you check it out. I think you guys will be pleased you did.
I'm going to be doing a live reaction to it, most likely, as it's happening.
I'll tell you this. There's a lot of things I can't control, like in the ring, right? But I am a meme factory, man. I'm going into this with as many thoughts, like what is so memeable that I can do, whether it's in the weigh-in or the press conference or I'm going to try to give you guys the best entertainment that I can. I can't guarantee I'll be that entertaining in the ring, but I can tell you on my way to that ring, you're going to laugh your ass off.
Have you sold any sponsorships on your shorts or anything like that?
Yeah, babe. I got Meta PCs backing me up. MetaPCs.com. Use code Boogie. Save 2% off of your purchase. Knock out that piece of shit computer you've got right now and pick up a real winner that can go all 3 rounds. MetaPCs.com. Use code Boogie. Thank you for that.
There you go. Maybe we'll sponsor you. Maybe Side Scrollers will sponsor you to put like a. Maybe we'll put I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way to spot, a sub to Side Scrollers.
Dude, I think you'd be glad you did. My outfit, it's so memeable. I tweeted out, they're working on it. I'm hoping they're going to get it done in time. Otherwise, I'm boxing in like champion shorts, which I really don't want to be the case. But they're so memeable. I went with Mountain Dew colors, dude. And wait till you see. I want to tell everybody. I'm so excited. I want you to know specifically, but I can't. You got to watch May 13th. You got to watch.
DM me a picture, and
you're gonna love it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to hit a few super chats real quick. Blake, thank you so much for the two earlier. Mav Dick says PTSD from DSP. Travis stole that for me before I could type. Thank you so much. The fight is actually taking place in London. Is that right?
Yeah, it is taking. Yep, London.
London. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Blake says this episode hit really close to home. I'm over 400 pounds because of my eating habits and activity. This has given me determination to change. There you go, Blake.
I'm glad. Love that.
Wheeling Through Life. Brian was asking about how to watch the fight. We answered that. Kizzy says, first time watching you, Boogie. I wish you well, but self-sabotage is hard to overcome. Once aware, it becomes easier. Good luck.
Thank you.
And Dark Side Droid says, I want to hear what Adam has to say. He's the one most level-headed individuals in his corner on the internet. One of the most level-headed individuals in this corner of the internet. Adam, do you have anything to say before we wrap?
Well, first off, thank you. I mean, I kind of, without sounding like a broken record, like I've said it already. Like I want to believe Boogie here. You know, it's like it's not that I don't believe him, but I don't know him, and I've heard this before. You know, it sounds like he's trying to convince us, and honestly, I think more importantly himself. And
that's exactly it. That's exactly.
I know. I'm getting that vibe. So it's like, I hope it works. I hope you convince yourself to become healthy and really focus on you and not give a shit about what others think instead of catering to others. And I've already heard you say certain things that you are trying to cater to others. You are trying. I mean, but it's a hard position that you're in because of what you do. You are online, so you kind of have to do things for others, but don't put your self-worth in what other people are thinking. So like, what do people want you to look like? Who fucking gives a shit? What do you want to look like? That should be the most important thing. Do you want to be able to show your stomach and gross me out like you did earlier? You know, it's like,
I'm sorry it grossed you out, but I was proving a point. I was trying to be memeable over there, baby. But I hear you.
No, I know. And it was. And there's already a meme of you and I together now on the internet. And it's a thing. But, you know, I want to believe you, and I hope it works. I hope you do. It can, and people think that I don't want the best for DSP. I do. I want Phil to be successful. I was trying to give him ideas. I was trying to help him out. That whole 5 hours of that interview or therapy session, whatever you want to call it, you know, was me and Craig actually trying to throw him a bone and being like, hey man, like, how can we help you? Like, well, you can prove it right now with Craig. Like, fuck all these people. Like, well, let's prove that you're not this person. You know, and any time it came up, it just, he was just like, no, I'm good in this little hole that this is my comfort zone. I'm good here. Where it seems like you want to get out of that hole that you have said that you yourself put yourself there. And I hope you do. I hope you get out of that, because I don't want anyone being stuck in a hole.
I appreciate that, man.
That's what I have to say.
I will 100% say that I spend a very large amount of time a day, and I think most addicts do, convincing myself that I can do this, convincing myself that I don't need my drug, that I don't need my comfort, that I don't need those things. I'm reading a Stephen King book right now, and there's a recovering addict in that book, and he's got 2 tattoos, one on each hand, and one says can't, and the other says must. And he says that he has that there to remind himself, because he knows he must use his drug. He must. He needs it. He wants it, but he can't. And so he has to live in a constant state of must and can't. And that was actually really interesting to me. It was really healing to me. But there is a certain amount of... The other thing is, though, at the end of the day, I was born to be an entertainer. I've always wanted to be an entertainer. I didn't care if I was a comedian or a wrestler or a YouTuber or a lolcow. I don't care. I don't care. I want to entertain. I want people to either laugh at me or laugh with me. As long as you're laughing, as long as I can take you out of the shitty bubble that is life for a few minutes, and you can forget about what's going on and you can think about something else. If I can provide that for people, I want to do it. So at the end of the day, that's another can't and must. I I can't rely on what other people say, but I must. And it's a fun balancing act.
Leon the Shark, this isn't a super chat, and just someone from chat said Boogie has been working hard for years to become better. As an audience member, I do see positive differences in him. That's great to hear.
Yeah, thank you, man. That means a lot. Thank you.
So keep it up.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Boogie, we appreciate you coming on today, man. Like I said, you know, it's sometimes as we talk about these things and we dig into, you know, different people and their lives and their personalities and their careers and stuff. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it can come off as, I don't know, like a therapy session to some. Some say it's an interview. Some say it's a, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just a conversation about you. And you know, hopefully we see your actions follow your words. You're saying all the right things, man. So hopefully, you know, as we say, if you got a goal, go get it. Right.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Thank you.
And hope it happens. But with that said, you guys tuning in over on the Geeks and Gamers channel. Make sure you guys go on over to the Side Scrollers podcast channel, youtube.com/@Side-Scrollers podcast. You'll see highlights of this episode on there probably later today. And probably throughout the week, we'll be posting little snippets of our interview here with Boogie. You guys can also follow us over on our brand new Kick channel over at kick.com/Side-Scrollers. If you guys are into the new Kick thing, we'll be streaming over there very shortly, as well as on rumble.com/Side-Scrollers as well. So look, we're a little bit of everywhere. Make sure you guys find us wherever you guys want to find us. Our goal is to cast the net as wide as we possibly can with the show to reach as many people as we possibly can. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Trav, Blabs, Adam, you guys got anything before we roll out?
Sayonara.
Nope. All right. Sounds good.
Tune in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow for our show
tomorrow
on our channel.
Yep. And make sure you guys go subscribe, obviously, if you haven't, to Boogie's channel. You guys can go find him over there. It's very easy to find.
Hey, I have a new channel. I would love to. Literally, the smallest number of subscribers would help. It's called The Power of the Internet. It's a podcast similar to this, where I interview people and talk about how the internet has impacted their life, either positively or negatively. And probably the most interesting episode I've ever filmed of anything ever. An hour-long conversation with Keemstar dropped. And I mean, we talk about everything. We talk about Etika. We talk about Gold and Glory. We talk about Alex. We talk about every mistake that man has ever met. And I'm telling you, this dude broke down in that interview. You'll love it. Power of the Internet.
In an hour?
In an hour, yeah. I mean, we trimmed it. We took a little more, but we got him there.
Cool. Good stuff. We'll definitely need to check that out. Absolutely. All right, guys, we're gonna skip the post show today. We're gonna go right on into we're just gonna finish it up. And but if you guys would like to support the show, you guys can do so over at patreon.com/Side-Scrollers. Greatly appreciate it. Boogie, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Great job, everybody. G2s and 199 over on Geeks Gamer. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Remember, if you guys got a goal, go get it. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central Time, over on youtube.com/@Side-Scrollers podcast. Have a great day, guys. Bye bye.
People are